Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you've had a wonderful weekend, and we got a lot of stuff to cover today, so we'll go ahead and get started. So make sure that, again, you're paying attention to those 5-minute money makers. Last week's was on an article, an excellent article that tells you exactly how to help your clients with all three of these things. So make sure you go back and read that and utilize that. And the 5Q breakdown, again, we're talking about paraphrasing versus parroting and the danger of what happens when you do that. So make sure you watch that and are putting that into action as well. So we're into the summer, and I highly, highly recommend that you either do a summer barbecue or a summer luau. And the reason that I recommend that you do that is, first of all, it's a great way to see all of your clients at one time. I always looked at it as one of my yearly, annual, or one of my contacts with my clients. And it's a great contact because it's non-financial. So and both of these are very inexpensive events to do. You just find we actually used a nursery that had a open space that inexpensively they would allow you to use. On the weekends it was used for weddings, but during the week it wasn't available all the time. So we actually got a good deal with it, and then just hired a DJ to come in, and then we hired a barbecue to come in, so it was not that expensive, and encouraged them to bring their friends, and it was a good time. And we actually had over 80% of our clients would attend these things, and they would ask when the next one was. Now here's the great thing that you can do with these. Let me I don't have my questions up here. Let me ask you a question. Can insurance people use testimonials? Let me have some answers to that one. Okay, getting a yes, lots of yeses. Can registered representatives use testimonials? Yes, they can. Registered representatives can use testimonials. You're getting a lot of no's. Registered representatives can use testimonials as long as it's not testimonials about performance of investments. Now, can RIAs use testimonials? That's a no. They can't use any type of testimonial. And yet, as an RIA, I used tons of testimonials. And when I was audited, the auditor walked right by my testimonials and didn't say a single thing. So what kind of testimonials did I use? Very good, Tom. Tom's got it. Dan's got it. Nick's got it. Jerry's got it. Yeah. So at these events, we would have disposable cameras on all of the tables. And we would ask people just to take pictures themselves, to go ahead and take pictures themselves. And then we also had one of our staff here that was kind of going around taking a gazillion pictures. So we tried to get pictures of every single person that came, and not like candid, hey, stand here, but stop by their table and when they were eating and in line. So we had a gazillion pictures that we would take. And then we'd send thank you for coming with their picture after the event. It'd usually take a couple, 2-3 weeks for us to get that all straightened out and get to them. But the other thing I did with a copy of it is I put it into big picture frames. So I had hundreds of pictures collaged, not like lined up in order, but like a collage, where they're helter-skelter on the inside a picture frame. So the only art I had in my office, in my waiting room, was these big picture frames full of smiling, happy clients. And inevitably, guess where new people would gravitate towards when they came into my office? They'd gravitate toward those pictures, and they would always find 2-3 people that they knew on that in those pictures, smiling, having a great time. So what's that tell them? You can't get a better testimonial than that. So I would highly recommend you be doing a client appreciation event. And I'm not a big, some guys say, here's what I do for my client appreciation. I hire out this big ballroom and I hire a 15-piece band. And guys, I guarantee you people had as much fun at my barbecue that was cheap as crap as spending $7,000 on an event. It does not need to be big. It just needs to be fun. But please, please, please make sure you're doing something like this. And we give you exactly how to do it right here under the library, archive library, and we have both the luau and the barbecue events there, step by step on how to do that. I'd highly recommend you. And if you're going to do it, when do you think you need to be starting organizing this? right now. Because in order to do it in July or August, you're going to need to start right now in getting this stuff done. Okay. And then while you're at the the pitch that you can give, the little advertisement you can give at your summer event is, again, our mini USP. I get homeowners permit for 1956 in Olmsted County, 21 little known benefits that are owed but not receiving, including program to protect your wife from losing half your Social Security income at your death, and a program to cover 2 years of long-term care costs without paying a single cent in premiums. So I would have that on the tables for, first of all, if your clients don't know about how to do this, they better know how to do this. So you better, it's worth meeting your clients to talk about these programs. And then also, when they bring friends, that this would be something that on the table, again, not conspicuously on the table, but maybe at the bottom or on the back of the tent cards or things like that, or the thanks for coming cards, or whatever it may be. There's lots of different places you could put these things, okay? Also, guess who we want to train on our mini elevator speech? Who do we want to train on our mini elevator speech? Our clients, exactly, Wade. Our clients, that's who we want to train on this, because here's the thing. What's the number one reason people do not give referrals? And don't say because you don't ask for them, because people don't give referrals just because you ask for them. It's the most asinine thing or myth that's out there. So it's not because you don't ask for them. Why do people not give referrals? That's right, Wade. They fear rejection. They fear rejection. So when they say, hey, you should meet with my guy, he's a great investment advisor. He set up my income really well. He's really helped me with my retirement. What does their friends, neighbors, relatives say when they refer that way? I already got a guy. And when they hear that, when will they ever refer again? They never will. But here's the thing. How many of them, when they give this mini elevator speech as, hey, you should meet with my guy. He showed me how to protect, if you lose your spouse, you're going to lose half your Social Security income. And he showed me a program where that does not happen, where my wife or Michelle won't lose my Social Security check, won't lose half her Social Security income when I die, or a program to cover 2 years of long-term care costs, and I don't even have to pay a cent in annual premiums. When they say those things, what's the likelihood that their friend, neighbor, relative is going to say, oh yeah, my guy's done that already? What's the likelihood their friend, neighbor, relative is going to say their guy has done these two things already? Yeah, 0% chance. So then they get a little boost, because when we refer somebody to a restaurant that we like, or that people didn't know about, or a movie that we like that they didn't know about, how do we feel about ourselves when we give people information that they didn't know about? How do we feel about ourselves? We feel good about ourselves. So when they give this kind of referral, when they give this kind of a pitch to get people in to see you, they'll actually get positive feedback instead of negative feedback or rejection. So this at the annual barbecue or luau, this would be the only pitch that I would make to them. Okay, and how long would it take for us to make that pitch? You could actually do it very inconspicuously by putting it all over the place, but not actually even talking about it. Okay. And again, why do we like those two pitches? Because these are the things that retirees, that boomers are concerned about. Does this pitch right here, does it address, would you like to have enough money for financial peace of mind? Absolutely it does. Does it address investments that provide guaranteed income? What's the best guaranteed income that people get? Social Security, right, Nicholas. So does it address serious health problems? Does it address help making sense of Social Security and Medicare? Does it address covering long-term care costs? Does it address not being a burden on the family? Does it address income to my family when I die? Does it address health care concerns? How many of these things does that pitch address? Lots or not very many? This is what people are concerned about. Now, let's look at how most advisors pitch themselves to their clients, and they want their clients to pitch them to their current, to their friends, neighbors, and relatives. They pitch with this stuff. Hey, I can show you how to not outlive your money. I can show you how investment with potential to provide high return, but has a higher risk. I could show you how to accumulate a lot of wealth to pass it on to your kids. So this is where everybody else talks about, and how many, where is that on the level of concern for boomers? Level of concern of the people we're working with. It's at the bottom. Let's use these things, not these things. Make sense? A little tidbit here. Queen's University in Ontario, Canada, did some work with Cambridge, and they looked at investments, and what they found was that Paul Wilmot, who holds a doctorate of applied mathematics at Oxford University, was warned that the so-called notional value of the worldwide derivatives market is now back over 1.4 quadrillion. 1.4 quadrillion. Quadrillion equals 1,000 trillion. Now, where do you think that compares as to before 2007? Higher or lower? You all got it right. It's higher. We're in as dangerous a situation as we were back before 2007. Also, where is household debt as compared to where it was in 2007? Higher. Great. So we've got more derivatives than we had before 2007. We have a household debt higher than 2007. But yeah, I have no fear the market's going to continue to go up, right? Ha, ha, ha. Guys, we don't know what's going to happen to the market. But holy cow, do we have danger signs all over the place. We're at the second longest bull market ever. We have more derivatives now, which was what caused the whole 2007-2008 debacle. We have a household debt higher than it was 2000, which also contributed to the whole 2007-2008 debacle. So should I be somewhat nervous about having a bunch of money in the market right now? If you're not, you're crazy. So great, I got two people that said yes. That means all the rest of you have all your clients in asset management, and frickin' what's going to happen when this thing blows up? Yep. So active funds are increasingly using sophisticated derivatives and using them badly. This is according to Investment News. So when they're using the derivatives, which causes the fees to go higher, and their performance is actually worse. Using derivatives causes a fund to lag peers by 60 basis points, and they're adding more risk. And they're saying they're using them to lessen risk, but they're actually adding more risk, which we'll talk about here in a second. So by using these tools, they're falling into a moral hazard trap. By using these investments that are supposed to shield them from risk, they take on additional risk. So instead of it saying, good, we're going to shield our investments from risk, they do, but then they add additional risk. And what happens then is, although they use these instruments in a manner that decreases the fund's risk, they hold portfolios of riskier stocks that offset the insurance capabilities of the complex instruments. Do you get what they're saying here? So guess what, dudes? So when your money manager says, listen, here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to get you quite as high a return on the market. Yeah, bingo. We already seen they're not going to do that. Whether they want to or not, they're not going to. But we're going to protect you from the downside. That protect you from the downside is a bunch of what? That protect you from the downside is a bunch of what? Yeah, hooey, nonsense, and crap. You all three said it perfectly. So does that make sense, guys? So just, again, with money managers, hey, one is as good as another. How do we know? How do we know your money manager isn't all that? How do we know your money manager isn't Captain Fantastic? How do we know your money manager hasn't gotten it figured out? There's one way and one reason, one way that's he isn't the only one. Yeah, I'd agree with that. He doesn't have all the money. I'd agree with that. That minimums are low. That's the one that I think. If he's working with you, guess what I know about him? He ain't all that. Because if he was really all that, what would his minimum client size be? Not 10 million. Yeah, 50 million, 100 million. That would be his minimum client size. And there are some guys out there like that. But even in the end, guess what we find out about that? Warren Buffett bet those guys about that an index could beat them, and who won? So even those hedge fund managers with $50 million, $100 million minimums, who won that bet? The indexes did over the last 10 years. So even then, but here's the thing. You have no right to think that your money manager is all that if he's taking people with a $500,000 or $1 million of assets. That is a run-of-the-mill money manager. So I want to talk a little bit about charisma, and charisma is your secret weapon. So remember, we're going to talk about the 10 things that give you charisma and make people like you. But before that, remember here a couple weeks ago we listened to Wade and how he did the scripting, and how good was Wade on that scripting? Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome. I've talked to him since, and he has locked in that final little question that he missed. So he's got that locked in. But I want you to listen to what happened with his. He then made it through the implementation meeting. Now this is a guy that wanted income, and he told Wade, "I need my $5,000 a month. I need my $60,000. You cannot come back to me with something less than $5,000 a month. I'm not looking at it." And he was in junk bonds, and he knew he was a sophisticated investor. He was an executive at I believe a Fortune 5 company. So he was an executive at a large company. So he was sophisticated. He knew what he was doing. When Wade walked through the dangers of junk bonds, he goes, "I know they're dangerous. I know they could blow up on me, but I can't get by with less than $5,000 a month. So unless you can come back with something with $5,000 or more per month, I'm not interested." So guys, if he's getting that $5,000 a month from junk bonds, what's the likelihood anything we can show him is going to work? Not good. Zero. Exactly. So when Jerry and Jeff here at 5Q went back and said, "We can't get, there's no way we can get him $5,000 a month." I mean, he not on the money that he's given us. It just doesn't work. So I helped Wade with some scripts to help him realize, and his wife realize that taking the risk of income. See, he intellectually he knew the risk he was taking. He didn't know it emotionally. So I gave him. Wade and I worked on some analogies and metaphors to help him and his wife figure out, geez, you know what? Emotionally, I'm taking way too much risk. But even so, how many advisors would have walked away from this guy with that kind of mentality that if you can't get me what my junk bonds are getting me in income, guess what? I'm not interested. How many advisors would have walked away? Most of them, yeah. Almost all of them. They would have said, this guy is not what? Not gettable. Yep. But let's listen to what happened with Wade. Let me get here.
I think the money is really at a nice price right now. No, this is cool. I like this.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad y'all came in to look at it. So
I like this.
Y'all kick it around. Let me know if it's something you want to explore more or not. You know?
The big deal would be this number right here. I was telling Melba, and I whiffed it because I told her. I said, well, I said he's not going to be able to come up with $5,000 income because the only thing he's got to work with, and I know you've got everything to work with, and I understand that there's a lot of things out there I don't have a clue with, and the good thing is you're working, I'm sure, with some people behind the scenes that really know this shit.
Oh, yeah.
I said he's going to have to go with bond funds, probably mutual bond funds, and he's not going to be able to raise enough money to get that $5,000. But this is pretty good. I mean, to be honest with you, you could do this based upon the numbers I gave you, where I had the emergency. If you combine the emergency fund and the IRA, we could have gotten $950 out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll also have another. I don't know. We're hopeful we're going to have $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000 out of this deal too when we get it all done, unless I screw it up. So, but I think I understand it. And anything else I need to know?
No.
And we can do this with us in Las Cruces and you here.
Oh yeah.
Guys, how many people would ask you if you can do this while they're on vacation? How many times have you been asked that? Hey, can we go ahead and move this money while we're on vacation? Now, how good do you think Wade did? Yeah. So we're seeing, is Wade harvesting is he harvesting his efforts with this person from what he did at the disclosure meeting? Obviously, how well did he do on the implementation meeting? He put a ton of effort into this, but guess what he's getting for that effort? I would say he's a rock star too.
I don't think it is either.
And let me circle this, that 88% of your principal is guaranteed in this plan. You're not risking.
No, and so that would be,
That'd be
certainly these two.
And
These
the third
two,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only part at risk is bucket number 4. And it doesn't have to be. It's just where you're going to get more.
Well,
if you're not going to have to touch it for 10 years.
That's exactly right.
It's probably
that's
good.
I mean, yeah, 10 years, pretty good window.
Yeah, and then the 10 years of income, without a doubt, you got $60,000 a year coming in. So those are the benefits I see to it. But like I said, you look at it, you guys are smart.
That's a good plan.
Okay.
I like it. I like it. I think one of the neat things about this is
Okay, so now, he's moving forward with the plan, but here's what I want you to hear. When I talk to you guys about the fact that, what do I say about when they answer yes, what is a yes worth? When they say yes, what's a yes worth? Absolutely nothing. And then when you say, no, I can tell what they're thinking. I can see on their face whether they're following me or not following me. And what have I said? Any point worth making must be made by who? Them. Any point I make is worthless because I have an agenda. So this is I just love the next part of this tape. Okay, so listen to what this guy says, and this guy's a sophisticated guy. This guy has $1 million+ in assets. This guy is he's a perfect client for us. And listen to what he says. This is what I've been telling you clients are doing. I've been telling you forever clients are doing this, and this is proof that the clients are doing exactly what I said they're doing. So listen to what this guy says here. So I'm going to back it up just a second or two.
So, meeting you. You're a nice guy.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for saying that, because I've enjoyed meeting you guys. I've enjoyed our visits.
There's so many guys in your business. You know what they are?
They're
one thing and one thing only, and they're great at it. They're salesmen. And that's a shitty word. That's 2 4-letter words together, probably, whatever it is. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly.
And Melvin and I can see through those peckerheads in a heartbeat.
It shows. I mean, it shows. Well, and I think what you're saying is I'm not, and I appreciate that.
I mean, you are, but you're not. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're going to make a living, but we understand that.
And I want to help people. So I need to get a lot of information before I can recommend.
Well, then you don't blow any smoke up our butt. I mean, because one thing I can do is I can sit there and I can play dumb real good, and sometimes it's a pretty accurate representation, but most of the time it isn't. Most of the time I'm kind of leading you on to find out what, if anything, you know, and make sure you're ahead of the class. And a lot of times it doesn't take me more than about 5 minutes to figure out that. I mean, I do it on the phone all the time, with people. And I tell them, oh, this guy knows less about the issue than I do. Mm-hmm. But you don't. You're way ahead of me. And the nice thing about you is you're like me. If I ask you a question and you don't know or you're not, Bob, I got to find out that answer.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I know what to do.
I know where to find out. But,
yeah, well, that's what I used to. It killed me in the 80s in my corporate.
So, guys, do you hear what that client is saying? I play dumb with all you guys. I mean, all you salesmen, all you do, that there's 2 4-letter words put together, salesman. And it says, I don't know if it's 4 letters or not, but that's how I feel about it. They're all peckerheads. I just sit there and play dumb, and I nod, and I listen to what they have to say, and 9 times out of 10, I can figure out that all they're doing is blowing smoke. I can figure out that I know more about this stuff than they know. So why didn't Wade fall into that trap? Does our system try to have us tell them how much more we know than them? Is that what we do with the 5Q system? No, yeah, you're exactly right, Dave. He followed the script. He followed the freaking script. And there's no way, we never tell a client how much we know. We let the client figure out for themselves how much they know. How much did this guy like the fact that Wade let him discover all this stuff for himself? So it comes down to is what Wade did is he followed the script. And guess what the script does? It gets people like this to move all their money to you. So if you have not learned the script yet, and many of you have, and this is good, and Wade's a great example of this, but if you haven't, geez Louise, you got 2 months here before we roll into the big marketing in September, October again. You need to go back and do what? Kind of learn the scripts, get a good handle on the scripts, or frickin' memorize the scripts as well as Wade has. Okay? So this is a great example of what you can accomplish with this system. I'm going to get back. So I'm going to go back to some of the things that we can do to, according to cognitive behavioral psychology and HubSpot. HubSpot's a great resource for me for sales and sales technology. So they came up with 10 habits of likable people. First thing is you got to be able to empathize both with positive emotions and negative emotions. When you're empathizing, who's out of that picture? You are. You're concentrating on their emotions, not your own emotions. Does that make sense? So you want to be able to empathize. And the only way you can empathize is if you are what? What's the only way you can empathize? Listen. In fact, empathizing, how we empathize, when we talk about getting on their side, which one of the getting on the side skills do we use to empathize? Empowering. Empowering. We talk about how great they are, and if it's a negative thing about them, and we're saying, "Oh man, your family is so lucky to have you." Whichever way it is, we're going to let them know that we've heard them, and we appreciate what they've been able to accomplish. That's empathizing. Make sense? Be humble. Here's the thing. First of all, listening to that tape, do you think Wade was humble through the whole process? Just listening to the very end of that tape, do you think he was humble through the first, second, and third meetings? Yeah. When in the 5Q system do we ever talk about ourselves? We never talk about ourselves. Never, never, never. It's always about them, and about their relationship with their current advisor. It's not about how great we are. It's not about, oh boy, your advisor did that. I never do that. Oh, your advisor did that. Oh, your advisor never contacts you. I always contact Mike. Do we ever talk about me? I do. Here's what I do. No. Be humble. Yeah, people do not like cocky people, Dave. Dare to be vulnerable. How do we do this? We do this in a number of places. When they say, I don't know, what are we supposed to say? What are we supposed to do? Fall on the sword. We fall on the sword. We say, that's my fault. That I screwed up. How about when we ask to tape, what do we do? Do we say are we vulnerable when we ask to record? If it's with a current client, we say, hey, my wife pointed out I'm not a great communicator. I could do to work on my listening. Do you mind if I go ahead and record this to see how my listening skills are? Or with the prospect, we let them know that, hey, my note taking is bad, and again, you can say my wife pointed out I need to work on my communication. Whatever you want to do, you go ahead and show you're vulnerable. When you give vulnerability, that helps you. I'll give you another example. When I'm in a situation where things get sticky or I've made too many mistakes and I sense that the people are getting antsy or getting resistive to what's happening here or getting irritated, what do? I say, I'm sorry. Apparently I've said something. I've done something. I've brought up something that has made you upset. I apologize. Whatever I've done, that's on me. That's my fault. I hope you understand it wasn't in the spirit of what I was trying to accomplish. It's not what I meant to do, but obviously I did it, and that's my fault. I mean, you're here to have your stress level lowered, and here I am raising your stress level. Shame on me. Whatever I did, I apologize. I apologize. I hope you understand it wasn't meant in that spirit. I want you to be taking a breath of a sigh of relief. Sigh of relief, not getting spun up more, and it's apparent that I'm getting you more stressed out. I'm sorry. How long do I stay silent then? Till they tell me why they're upset. Because when they talk, then I can go ahead and get on their side about whatever they're upset about. But am I showing I'm vulnerable there? So you got to be vulnerable, okay? People with a good sense of humor have a better sense of life. That's why when they laugh or if they say something funny, you got to laugh. You got to laugh. When I was the #1 TV salesperson at Best Buy in the whole country, they sent a group of executives on the mezzanine to watch me, to watch what I did. And they had a great laugh with me because they said there's 2 things that I do. They watched me and they actually debriefed me afterwards, and they said there's 2 things we notice you do. One is you touch people, meaning that I would touch people on the shoulder. I touch people on the forearm. I touched people. And Missy, how touchy am I? Touchy-feely am I?
You are not a touchy-feely person at all. That's kind of creepy to you.
I do not like hugs. I do not like. I don't like handshake. I just don't. It's not that I'm a germaphobe. It's just that I'm just not a touchy-feely person. But when I was on the floor selling TVs, guess what? I inevitably patted on the shoulders, touched the forearm, did something that I touched them. Also, they said, you seem like you're having such a great time with the clients. I mean, you're laughing. Everybody was always laughing. And I'm not a funny person. I can't tell jokes. But I tend to find something to laugh, what the client says to laugh, or to have a good time, to loosen up. And, and they said that they noticed that as soon as I turned around, because we used to have to run back and get our own TVs out of the warehouse in the back for the client. We'd actually have to run back as a salesman to grab the TV on a dolly and wheel it out to the cash register. They said as soon as I turned around, they could see that the smile and the laugh just fell off my face, and then it was all business. I was going back to get that TV. So, but with the people, I had a very good time. And I would tell you straight out, all the guys that have made $1 million plus in this with this system, and there's a lot of them, they all have a great time with the client. Their tone of voice is not this, I cannot laugh, I have to be serious because I am a financial advisor, here's what I am to help you. No, they're having a good time. Having a good time, sharing some laughter, kidding with them. That is a great thing. People like to be happy. Even unhappy people like to be happy, okay? So you got to loosen up. And, Missy, you would hear me through the door. How often was there laughter going on? And would you say that I conducted myself, quote unquote, as how most people would view it as professional? If a Fortune 500 person, a Fortune 500 trainer or whatever came in and listened to my meeting, would they say, man, that guy's professional?
No, you guys you were constantly laughing and joking around with them, and it wasn't all serious by any means. There was a lot of I don't want to say badgering in a negative way, but they would say something, you guys would kind of go back and forth. So lots of happiness.
So the thing is, guys, they want a real person, somebody they can trust, and that's what we're doing when we're having a good time. Also, if we're having a good time, guess how more pointed I can make the bad information. If we're generally having a good time, guess how much more pointed I can make the bad information, the information where they're finding the guy is taking advantage of them. Do I have to skirt around that, or can I be a little bit more visceral? Nobody's answering. Yeah, more visceral. I can be more direct when we're having a good time, because it doesn't seem like I'm just constantly hitting them with bad news. So when you're having a good time and they say, well, but here's what's happening, and then it gets a little bit worse. And then what do you think about this, and why do you think that happened? I can do that because we were having a good time before that. Make sense? Be in the here and now, and this is a pet peeve of mine. This is a pet peeve of mine. Should you be worried about what they're going to be saying, 2 minutes from now? And I'll hear it when you're getting on their side. You're so eager when you're supposed to be getting on their side because they've said something that was incorrect, and you have to get on their side before you can correct them, or they've said something, an objection, and you need to get on their side before you have them realize that objection doesn't matter. How long should you be getting on their side? If they've said something incorrect, or they've said something that's an objection, how long do you need to get on their side? Minimum. How long do you need to get on their side? 3 minutes, right, Jerry? 3 minutes. Minimum. Now, you're shooting for 3 minutes, which means you might do a minute and a half. I'd be happy with that. But if you're shooting for a minute, guess what you're going to do? When I listen to tapes, guess how long you guys normally spend getting on the side in those particular situations? About 5 to 10 seconds. That's not enough. And the reason you're not is because you're more worried about how you're going to overcome that thing. You're more worried about correcting them than you're worried about getting on their side. That's what I mean. If I'm getting on their side, what should be the only thing I'm worried about when I'm getting on their side? Getting on their side. So, Jeff, what would you add to this particular thing about the Zen of the 5Q system?
Yeah, you have to, if you're somewhere else, if you're thinking about something else, I mean, I can always, I mean, I'm not talking about sales, but I can always tell when I'm talking to somebody else and they're somewhere else. They sense it. They know. It's not that you all know too. And if you all know, they know. And if you're not there with them and you're thinking about something else, you might be thinking about them and what you're going to say to them next. But as far as they know, you're thinking about errands that you have to run later. You come across as somebody who you don't view them as important. And if they have to feel important, they're trusting you with all their money. If they don't feel like you think they're important, they're not going to work with you.
So yeah, there's actually two prongs to this, and Jeff brings up a very good prong, is that they need to know that you're listening to them. They need to know that you're present with them. That's one prong of this. The other prong is, dudes, if you want to be great at something, how vested should you be in that particular skill at that particular time? The analogy we use is, if I want to win the Super Bowl, and it's the 2 minute, we're in the 2 minute of drill, and I'm behind by 4 points, and I know I need to score a touchdown. I think we got to win. We got to score here. We got to win. If that's what I'm thinking about as I'm standing behind the center, what's going to happen? We got to win. We have to score a touchdown. I got to win. We're going to score a touchdown. What's going to happen? Yeah, I'm going to fumble the snap. If I'm standing behind the center, what should I be worried about? What's the only thing I should be worried about as I'm standing behind the center? Take a clean snap. That's it. Then after I have the snap, the only thing I should be worried about is what? Looking for an open receiver. I mean, so I should only be looking. I shouldn't be worried about the play. I should only be worried about one thing of the play at one time. If I'm thinking 2 steps ahead, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to muff what I'm doing right now. Make sense? So as Jeff says, be in the here and now with the client. Make sure they understand that they are the only thing that you're paying attention to right now. And the second way to be present is, if I'm working on a skill, the only skill I should be working right then is GOTS. So if my skill is if I'm doing GOTS right now, the only thing I should be worried about is GOTS, not what I'm going to say after GOTS.
Yeah, and here's another thing I would add. You guys, you have to learn not to panic when people give you an objection. You have to learn that objections are part of the process. You guys, so what I mean by that is, if I ask you, what do you do if somebody says something that you disagree with? And everybody on this call will say you get on their side. For how long? Hopefully you'll say 3 minutes, but everybody will say 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there. Then I say, okay, and then what do you have to do? Well, I have to ask them questions to get them to see that what they're saying maybe isn't 100% right, or only right from their point of view, or that particular point of view. And I'll say, yeah, that's exactly it. Now, okay, so let's listen to this. Yeah, I just think that so far we're making such good money, I don't see us making any changes. No, that's a good point, but what you need to really be thinking about at this point is whether or not you do a 2-second get on their side, and then you start telling them why they're wrong. And so knowing what to do and doing it for some, you just panic, and your default panic mode is, I'll quick get on their side. Okay, that's a good point, and then you'll preach at them about what your point is. And so I don't know. It's like if I ask you, you know the right answers, but you don't. That's your default panic mode. Somehow we have to get you to expect objections so that you don't panic.
Well, here's how I did it. That's it. You bring up a great point, Jeff. here's how I did it. What you just said there is what I did, is I expected it. See, if I'm walking down the mall, and somebody tackles me, what am I going to do to that person? I'm just minding my own business, walking down the mall, and somebody tackles me, what am I going to do to that person? Yeah, kick him in the balls, exactly. And get mad at him, right? Now, if I'm on a football playing field and I've got the ball in my hand and somebody tackles me, what am I going to do? Get up, walk back to the huddle. Do I expect to be tackled in the mall? No, so my fight-flight is going to immediately kick in. I'm going to attack them back. But on the football field, do I expect to be tackled? Do I expect? Yes. So do I get upset and just fight-flight kick in on the football field? No, I just simply walk back to the huddle. So when I went into a meeting, guess what I always expected? I expected objections. I expected to get tackled, exactly. I expected objections. So I always had locked and loaded into my objection gun. So I always had locked and loaded. I had the bullet in the chamber in the objection gun looking for the objection. As soon as the objection came up, guess what word came out of my mouth? Guess what my bullet word was? What that word was that I fired out of that objection gun. If you ever hear the word absolutely, guess what? That was my word. Anytime I heard an objection, anytime I heard something I didn't like, anytime they said something that was wrong, and I knew that instinctively I wanted to do something stupid, like correct them, the word that came out of my mouth was absolutely. And then there was a 1 or 2 second pause as I collected myself and figured out how I was going to get on their side for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Now, for those of you guys that do suffer from this, do you think there's any problem taking a pen and paper and jotting down some reasons why they're right on paper in front of them? Do you think clients would not like that or like that if you started writing down some 2 or 3 reasons why they're right? They love it. And does it slow down the process or speed up the process when you're doing that? It slows down the process, which is good. It slows down the process, which is good, because when they say something is incorrect, and you need to put real estate between that incorrect thing and you correcting them. Real estate being time. If they give me an objection, I need to put some real estate between them saying that and me correcting them. So that I want that 2 or 3 minutes there so they forget what they said, so they don't have to admit that they were wrong, or they don't have to admit that they got the question, answered the question incorrectly. I'm putting that time there so they forget what brought up this topic in the first place. That's why I'm doing it. It also calms them down, calms me down. So writing things down reasons down that agree with what they just said, that's a good thing. And it also helps you slow the process down so that you're putting more real estate on the clock, more time on the clock, before you actually will help coach them in finding the right answer or coach them on and coming up with a more reasonable way of looking at things. Does that make sense? So be concentrating on that skill right when you're there. What last objection, Dan? So Dan wanted me to work through an objection. So the portfolio is doing fine. So Missy, can you put on a clock?
Yep.
So tell me when you're ready, and I'll just show you guys how easy it is to go to 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
Okay. There you go. Go ahead.
Well, you're exactly right, Jeff, because my opinion is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because when we start tinkering with things that are already working, when we start tinkering with things that are doing fine, what I found is, you take the lawnmower apart. It's working fine, but you take the lawnmower apart because you think you're going to just tweak it a little bit here, tweak a little bit there, and then it's going to run a lot smoother and give you better gas mileage. And by the time I'm done with it, try to put it back in, I forget what one of the parts is, and then I broken the lawnmower. So the one thing is, I'm a big proponent. Of almost like surgeons or doctors. Their Hippocratic oath is first, not hey, let's run in and fix somebody. Hey, let's run around and do things to people. No, first thing is first do no harm. So what you bring up is right on target. Is right on target, because we should not be tinkering with something that isn't broken. Heck, if something's working great, and we've been doing all the things that we want to do right now, we're going on vacation when we want to go on vacation. We're going out to eat when we want to go out to eat. We're living in the house we want to live in, and we sleep at night like a baby. If those things are all happening, then yeah, why would we want to change anything? Life is about enjoying things, and stress doesn't help us enjoy things. Stress causes all sorts of problems. And the one thing we know about right now is if we're happy right now, probably the best thing to do is what? Keep doing
what we're doing.
Yeah, what we're doing. Exactly. So when you say, things are going great right now, totally agree. I think, I can't pat you on the back enough for all the things that you're doing right. We've got, when we first started talking here, half hour, 45 minutes ago, guess what?
There's 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes.
So that's an example of it. So what's happened to their fight-flight? Gone. What's happened to my fight-flight? It's gone. Now, how easy is it to turn them? It's very easy. Because I'm saying, yeah, for right now, they're doing awesome. All I need to do is have them explore what? All the unknowns going forward. So how I would turn that then is simply use the word and, not the word but, and start working them through some of these smaller, small questions, so they start to realize that, yeah, if everything stayed the way it is right now, they're doing the right thing. But if things change, if interest rates change, if they're in a bond portfolio, if the market falls, if they're a money management portfolio, if they're whatever it may be. And remember though, right? Are we arguing? This is the main point there. Do I really care if they love their portfolio? No, I think it's terrific. Because am I trying to get them to change their portfolio, guys? What am I trying to get them to change? Their guy. So getting on their side about their portfolio is fine. It's terrific. That's fine. I can do that. That's easy because it's not even moving me backwards. And Jeff, does the 21-point checklist help them discover for themselves that their portfolio isn't as good as they thought?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
So should I try to argue with that or let the 21-point checklist do all the heavy lifting for me?
Let the 21-point checklist do all the heavy lifting. Remember, this was invented by them. It works on them because that's what they said will work on us. So do that. Don't do something different. Do that. Do what they said will work on us.
Yeah. So just let it do all the heavy lifting for you. So be interested, not interesting. So everything we do is about who? Them, 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 them. Don't share your own stories. Don't try to one-up their stories. Don't try to, it should not be about you at all. The only stories we use where I talk about myself, many times they're not even about myself. They're just teaching stories. They're just the stories that I use. They're parables. So it's not about trying to get them, come up with a fantastic story to amaze them. It's about them learning the point that the story is supposed to be about. It's not about me telling them how great I am with clients and the fact that I contact my clients all the time and I don't do this and I do that and blah, 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 blah. It's not about me. They are the one and only focus. If you think about GOTS, all the skills, for those of you, and you better all be doing, the 15-minute drill, all those 15-minute drills, all the things we do in the 15-minute drill, all those skills are all about what? Getting them to talk more. The best conversationalist in the world is the best listener in the world, the person who asks questions to get the other person to talk about themselves. So be interested, not interesting. It's not about you. It's about them. And a major thing of being charismatic is be generous. How do we show that we're generous? How do we show that we're generous? I hope you get this, guys. Come on. Guys, come on. There you go, Jonathan. We're talking about the non-financial stuff. Do we get paid to do any of those things? Do we get paid to fix their powers of attorney? Do we get paid to get in and go through the survivor's guide? Do we get paid to follow up on that? Do we get paid for the quality of life? Do we get paid for sending them back to the property casualty to get their umbrella and to get the right one? We don't get, so that's showing that we're what? We care. We're generous. We're not all about making money off of them. And praise loudly and blame softly. So Jeff, when they point out, for example, at the data gathering meeting, and they bring up, my guy never contacts me. I mean, I always have to call him. What would we do properly at a data gathering meeting?
I just say, I mean, that surprises me. It could be just something where he's just busy at this time. I'm sure he plans on getting back to you. I'm sure he cares about you and he intends to take care of that. And then move on.
So there's only one person that can call my wife ugly, and who's that? There's only one person that can call their advisor unscrupulous. Guess who that is? Them. Make sense? So praise loudly, blame softly. And you know who this also applies to? It applies to us and the way we view clients. And it really gets me irritated when I hear you blame clients. Guys, if the client's not moving forward, whose fault is it? Ours. 10%, 90%, or 110%? If we have something they want, and the only thing between them and what they want is me, and they don't get that thing they want, there's only one problem. That's me. So praise loudly, blame softly. And then actually I'm going to save this, but just a little bit of it because we're running out of time here. But just a little reminder of the money manager and to make sure this is done right. So get here. The money manager piece, we talk about the gas station. What is the gas station about? The gas station analogy. What is it about? It's about people saying things about their money manager that they're better than the average money, they're better than just run-of-the-mill investing. You need to work with my money manager because he's better than indexing. You need to work with my money manager because he's better than all the other money managers. You need to work with my money manager because it's better than you could do by yourself. The problem with that is if you find out that he's not better than the indexing, if he's not better than other money managers, if he's not better than investing by yourself, then you're overpaying or underpaying. So what we use is if I'm telling you my gas is better and you should overpay for my gas, and then you find out that the tanker is putting the same gas in my store's gas pumps as across the street's gas pumps, and I'm charging 20 cents more a gallon, I was a big fat what? Liar. And should you trust anything I say at that point? No. And then where do we go? What script do we go to after we get to this point on the money managers? What script do we go to? We jump immediately to what script? Very good, Wade. I need more answers than one. Come on, guys. Whoa, dudes. I'm not even going to finish. Okay, we got 2 right answers, 3 right answers. I'm not even going to finish this then. You all need to go to the money manager script on the website. So go to meeting process, 21-point checklist, meeting, fees, money manager. So let me get out of here a second, and I'll go there. So, boink. I'm not getting, I got 3 right answers. You need to go. Guys, why do we need to be awesome at the money manager script? Why do we need to be awesome at the money manager script? Jeff, why do we need to be awesome at the money manager script?
Because you're going to run across a lot of people that have managed money, so you need to know what to do.
Why? Where's everybody putting their money right now, guys? With the DOL, where's everybody putting their freaking money? I need a bunch of answers. Where are they putting their money? I've got 5 people who gave me the right answer. Come on, guys. Not stocks. Where are people putting their money? Yes, they're putting their money into fee-based accounts, money managers. Everybody's rushing with the DOL to put their money into fee-based accounts. So you better be what? You better be awesome at fee-based accounts, dudes. So you see, I went to 21-point checklist meeting. Then I go down to fees. Then I go to managed money. So all of you, I only got 3 right answers there. You guys all need to go to this and watch this. You need to all go here and watch this hour-long tutorial on how to deal with money managers, because that's what you're going to be running up against, okay? Over and over and over. That's where everybody's putting their money. Make sense? Coolio. Well, make sure that you're using this summer productively. Get that epidemic marketing going to all your clients and prospects. Make sure you're doing a client event. Make sure you're working on the scripts so you pretty much have them down. No, work on the scripts so you have them down. Black and white, you have them down. Make sense? You guys have a great rest of the week. And then next week, is it 4th of July next week, Missy?
It sure is. So, yes, actually it's the 3rd on Monday, so we will not be having a call on Monday, and our office will be closed Monday and Tuesday.
So you guys have a wonderful and safe 4th of July weekend, and we'll talk to you here in a couple weeks. Thanks, everybody.